Hey guys, today I'm going to do a study on Genesis chapter 47, so let's get into it. So Joseph went in front of Pharaoh, my father and my brothers with their flocks and all that they own have come from the land of Canaan, and now in the land of Goshen. He took 5 of his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh asked his brothers, "What is your occupation?" They said to Pharaoh, "Your servants, both we and our ancestors are shepherds." And they said to Pharaoh, "We have come to stay in the land for a while because there is no grazing land for your servants' sheep, since the famine in the land of Canaan has been severe. So now please let your servants settle in the land of Goshen." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Now that your father and brothers have come to you, the land of Egypt is open before you. Set your father and brothers in the best part of the land, and they can live in the land of Goshen. If you know of any capable men among them, put them in charge of my livestock." So he says, then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Now that your father and brothers have come to you, the land of Egypt is open before you. Set your father and the brother in the best part of the land." Because Pharaoh is, as I said, well pleased with Joseph because of God, because Joseph was able to prophesize Pharaoh's dream and because of God and Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I had a dream and no one can interpret it, but I've heard it said about you that you can hear a dream and interpret it." And Joseph replied correctly by saying, "I'm not able to." Joseph answered Pharaoh, "It is God who will give Pharaoh a favorable answer." And then he interpreted the dream, and then Pharaoh put him in charge of stuff, and he has been leading Egypt into be the best nation during this time. So he's saying "Oh, you can have the best part of the land because you have prevented Egypt from going to disaster and made Egypt the best nation. And it's all because of the power of God and the fact that God was with Joseph. They can live in the land of Goshen. If you know of any capable men among them, put them in charge of my livestock." So Pharaoh's "Oh, if any of your relatives are really good at shepherding, have them that shepherd my sheep." Joseph then brought his father Jacob and presented him to Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed the Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Jacob, "How many years have you lived?" Jacob said to Pharaoh, "My pilgrimage has lasted 130 years. My years have been few and hard, and they have not reached the years of my ancestors during their pilgrimage." So Jacob blessed Pharaoh and departed from Pharaoh's presence. So he was so Jacob is he's calls this a pilgrimage because this is this is not permanent. He's not permanently living on Earth. It's only temporary, and he has lasted 130 years. But he also says that his years has been fewer, and that because his ancestors have lived longer than 130 years. So Jacob blessed Pharaoh and departed from Pharaoh's presence. Then Joseph settled his father and brothers in the land of Egypt and gave them property in the best part of the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh commanded. And Joseph provided his father, his brothers, and all his father's family food for their dependents. So Joseph settled his father, brother, in the land of Egypt, gave them property in the best part of the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh's command. So this land of Ramses, which is probably in Goshen also, is the best part of the land in Goshen. And because Pharaoh gave it to them because Joseph was, good. And Joseph provided his father, his brother, and all his family food for their dependents. So Joseph has all the food for them, and now they can live life easily in the land of Ramses. But there was no food in the entire region, for the famine was very severe. The land of Egypt and the land of Canaan were exhausted by the famine. Joseph collected all the silver to be found in the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan in exchange for grain they were purchasing, and he brought the silver to Pharaoh's palace. When the silver from the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan was gone, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, "Give us food. Why should we die here in front of you? The silver is gone." But Joseph said, "Give me your livestock, since the silver is gone. I will give you food in exchange for your livestock." So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and he gave them food and shame for the horses, and the flocks of the sheep, the herd of the cattle, and the donkeys. That year, he provided them with food and exchange for all their livestock. When that year was over, they came the next year and said to him, "We cannot hide from our Lord that the silver is gone, and that all our livestock belongs to our Lord. There is nothing left for our Lord that is except our bodies on land. Why should we die here in front of you, both us and our land? Buy us and our land in exchange for food. Then we will give our land will become Pharaoh's slaves. Give us seed so that we can live and not die, and so that the land will not become desolate." In this way, Joseph acquired all the land in Egypt for Pharaoh, because every Egyptian saw his fields. Since the famine was so severe for them, the land became fields, and Joseph made the people sovereign from one end of Egypt to the other. The only land he did not acquire belonged to the priests, for they had an allowance from Pharaoh. They ate from that allowance that Pharaoh gave them, therefore they did not sell the land. So, all the land now belongs to Pharaoh. So in this way, Joseph acquired all the land in Egypt for Pharaoh, because every Egyptian stole his fields since the famine was so severe for them, and the land became Pharaoh. So Pharaoh got to own all the land because of Joseph, and Joseph was able to do this because of God that told him what the Pharaoh's dream meant. And Joseph said to the people, "Understand today that I have acquired you in your land for Pharaoh. Here is seed for you, sow in the land, and at harvest you are to give a fifth of it to Pharaoh, and 4/5 will be yours as seeds for the fields and as food for yourself, your household, and your dependents. You have saved our lives," they said. "We have found ourselves in favor with our Lord and will be Pharaoh's slaves." So Joseph made laws still in effect today in the land of Egypt that a fifth of produce belongs to Pharaoh. Only the priest's land does not belong to Pharaoh. So, because of the situation and all that stuff, Pharaoh is now pretty in a good place, and Joseph made a law still in effect today in the land of Egypt that a fifth of the produce belongs to Pharaoh. Only priest's land does not belong to Pharaoh. So this is since Pharaoh now owns all the land, he can now tax everybody, so this fifth is a tax, so a 20% tax on everybody, because now Pharaoh owns all the land. Back in the day, the Pharaoh didn't own the land, so he didn't tax people, but now he does, so now he can tax everybody at a fifth of their produce. Israel settled on land in Egypt in the region of Goshen. They acquired property in it and became fruitful and very numerous. Now Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, and his lifespan was 147 years. When the time approached for him to die, he called his son Joseph and said to him, "If I have found favor with you, put your hands under my thigh and promise me that you would deal with me in kindness and faithfulness. Do not bury me in Egypt. When I rest with my ancestors, carry me away from Egypt and bury me in a burial place." Joseph answered, "I will do what you have asked." And Jacob said, "Swear to me." So Joseph swore to him. Then Israel bowed and thanked at the head of his bed. So Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, and his lifespan was 147 years. When the time approached for him to die, he called his son Joseph and said to him, "If I have found favor with you, put your hand under my thigh and promise me that you will deal with me with kindness and faithfulness. Do not bury me in Egypt. When I rest my ancestors, carry me from Egypt and bury me in their burial place." So, Israel didn't want to be buried in Egypt. He wanted to be buried with his ancestors. So Joseph was like, "I would do that." And then Israel bowed down to the head of his bed. And yeah. So, this is the study of Genesis chapter 47, which has Joseph's having his brothers meet Pharaoh and Jacob, having Pharaoh meet his brothers and Jacob, and then Joseph acquiring all the land for Pharaoh, and And Israel telling him, like telling Joseph where to bury him once he dies. And yeah. So, if any of Spirit's Christians sees this and I said something wrong, please correct me. And if you like this video, like it. And if you think I'm doing something good, subscribe. And I will see you the next day if the Lord wills. Bye.